Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the analyst Robert Leach, and welcome to another free match. Today we head back to the Grand Wrestling Spectacle VII at Lanphier High School. The main event, regional heavyweight title match, making his way to the ring first, the challenger. It's the young thriller, Derek Moss, already at the time a former regional heavyweight champion. He had held the title for 539 days before losing it to Casey Jackson in November 2016. Of course, Casey Jackson left to his own devices, whether they're quite legal or not, that's up to the referee to decide. I'm sure the referee would have deemed his devices illegal had the referee not been unconscious for that match, or for the ending of that match, I should say. But Casey Jackson winning the regional heavyweight title, as I was trying to say, with a pair of brass knuckles. And Derek Moss had been trying ever since to regain the regional heavyweight title. This has been a 7-month battle for Derek Moss, and he hopes to win the title back here tonight at the Grand Wrestling Spectacle, May 20th, 2017, at Lanphier High School, paying homage to Macho Man Randy Savage, who has had many a match in this very building, in the middle, in the very space that the ring is set up here tonight. Derek Moss paying homage to the Macho Man Randy Savage, and you see him on the second rope paying homage to his late grandfather, whom he was great friends with, who showed him great support throughout his entire wrestling career.
Always remember.
But now, his opponent, and you see, up until tonight, this man had been helped out by President Archie. He was the president of PWA at the time. And you see, earlier in the night, President Archie had his own match against Brian Ely one-on-one. And you see, President Archie suffered a loss there. And so President Archie will not be accompanying the defending champion, the main attraction, Casey Jackson, here tonight. Now, I can say Casey Jackson at this point is in the midst of his very first title reign with PWA ever, making his PWA debut in 2014. Heavily in the first couple of years of his PWA career, he was tag teaming with the Mississippi Madman as part of the Money Making Jam Boys. Now in September 2016, Madman had become ill. He had become hospitalized, and things weren't looking very good. Of course, he was able to recover since then. However, Casey Jackson would have to find his way as a singles competitor. Casey Jackson would be handpicked by President Archie to become the controversial 31st entrant in the 30-man Rawtoberfest match in October. He would win the match, stealing the victory from Roscoe, the Pinfall Academy graduate, and he would win the regional heavyweight title from Derek Moss 1 month later. And ever since then, 7 months strong, KC has been the champion. But will he be able to retain against the longest reigning champion in PWA history? Let's take it to the ring. Crowd very split in this matchup. And Casey Jackson has his own little cheering section In the far corners, you can see everyone standing up applauding the defending champion. The main attraction, very controversial champion, as I explained before the announcements there by Carrie Ann. And now referee Chris Barrow going to officiate this match. As you can see, holding up the regional heavyweight title for all to see in this matchup. This is what's on the line. Derek making note that he is fighting to win back the title. He feels he should have never lost in the first place. Now, of course, in this title reign, well, here we go, right out of the box. Both men, no love lost for each other here. Casey and Derek throwing right hands at each other immediately. Huge lariat off the ropes, out of the box right there from Derek Moss. And now Casey over to the ropes again. Forearm across the jaw. Casey sent into the ropes, catches himself, and he's going to roll to the outside. We're taking it outside early. No holds barred, as I forgot to mention earlier. No disqualifications, no countouts, no rope breaks at all. The only way to win, pinfall or submission inside the ring. And Derek Moss in full control after sending KC off of the chair in the middle of the crowd there. And now a forearm again to KC. And now KC with a knee to the midsection of Derek Moss. And KC and Derek fighting in the middle of Lanphier High School. And Derek into the chairs, into the middle of the crowd. The crowd going to be sent out of the way as Derek sent tumbling through rows of chairs here in the middle of Lanphier High School. And KC with a fist bump to one of his fans here at Lanphier. And now Derek being picked up almost by his hair, it looks like, by KC. Irish whip into the bleachers, and Derek hit hard. And you see KC soaking in the love from his cheering section right here in the corner of the ring. Corner of the building, I should say. And now KC going to talk some trash to the young Thriller. And another right hand across the jaw. KC throwing a forearm of his own. And Derek Moss sat in this plastic chair. And there's the boot, sends Derek Moss tumbling backwards back down to the hardwood floor at Lanphier High School's gymnasium. And now KC Jackson throwing right hands again at Derek Moss as they begin to climb the bleachers. All these crowd members are gonna need to get out of the way here. Now you see, this was PWA's very last match at Lanphier High School before we would move to the 8th Street Gym, which I think we can all agree is a much better home, a much more fitting home for Pinfall Wrestling Association. We're glad to be there. We've been there for a couple of years now. Either way, back to the match. Derek Moss and KC Jackson hammering away, getting lost in this crowd of security and referees. Now a right hand from Moss. Moss kick to the midsection. And now KC Jackson's hunched over. He's in trouble. Here comes Derek, gonna run it. KC picks him up, and Derek Moss sent tumbling down the bleachers. That could have ended very badly. He almost landed on his head there. And now Derek Moss gonna tumble down the rows of bleachers all the way down to the floor. KC Jackson walking back down these bleachers, going to continue the assault on Derek Moss. No holds barred again, no disqualifications, no count out, no rope break. Only way to win, pinfall or submission in the ring. And now KC Jackson is toying with Derek Moss, stomps, and he's kind of tapping him with his boot to show who's boss there, I believe KC's trying to do. And take a look at that, Derek Moss showing the defiance. There was a little bit of sign language from the young Thriller, and now right hands again, and Moss sent back into the chairs, almost taking out the crowd here that were sitting in the front row. Derek feeling the effects here, security and referees trying to hold back these crowd members so no one gets injured. And now Derek Moss is hurt. KC Jackson's gonna go back to the ring. It looks like Derek's gotta find a way back onto his feet, because the only way he can retain his beloved regional heavyweight title is by defeating KC Jackson in the middle of the ring. And Derek Moss hears the crowd trying to will him on, and Derek's trying to make his way back to the ring very slowly, well, of course, Derek's taking all this damage so far. Casey's in the middle of the ring taking his time, soaking up the crowd's hatred and some of the crowd's support for Casey, of course. And Derek Moss trying to make his way back to the ring apron. This could be a mistake from Casey Jackson, who could be taking this time to get in more offense on the young Thriller instead of letting him recuperate on the outside of the ring and roll himself back in. KC could have easily had this thing won if he wasn't trying to soak in the crowd's opinion. And now KC picks Derek up, and this isn't a good position for the young Thriller, who stops himself, holding on to KC here, not going to let it happen. Rolls through, pick up, fireman's carry position. Derek Moss has him. There's the block to go to sleep to Casey Jackson, who picks up Derek in his own fireman's carry. And Casey Jackson, looking for a stunner, goes for a super kick, going for the Olympic slam, the jacked up, as Casey calls it, picks him up, going for the brain buster. No, reversal. Casey looking for the brain buster himself. Derek Moss reversal, looking for the jacked up. Here comes Derek Moss going for the jacked up on KC. There's a slap across the face. KC stops the sequence dead in its tracks. These guys were going for everything. And Derek Moss with a huge drop kick to the jaw of KC Jackson. And that was the moment, the second, that Derek Moss needed to be able to find his next maneuver exactly where he wanted it to be. And now Casey, feeling the effects, almost knocked out over there in the corner as Derek trying to find the ropes, pull himself back up to his feet. Derek's fixing the knee pad. Now he's trying to get the crowd riled up. Derek Moss trying to make it to his feet. Casey Jackson is up in the corner, but who knows how conscious he really is. Derek Moss, shoulder first into the ring post. Here's Casey, boot to the side of the head. And now Casey Jackson pushes Derek Moss back into the center of the ring. Casey on the second rope. Here he comes with that signature uppercut. And now Derek Moss is out. Casey Jackson going to take a moment instead of going directly for the cover. He's not even going for a cover here, which might be a huge and costly mistake for Casey in this matchup. Here's the lateral press, 2, and there's the kick out from Derek Moss. Casey Jackson taking a little too much time getting into the cover. And now, there's the stomp across the upper spine of Derek Moss. And KC now, a kick to the ribs that I'm sure felt the damage from that tumble down the bleachers a couple of minutes ago. And now Derek being stomped away at and hammered away at by Casey Jackson, who now chokes Derek on the middle rope, and the referee can't do anything because it's no rope breaks in a no-holds-barred match. Casey's going to roll to the outside of the ring. Who knows what this could be for? He's going under the ring apron. Looks like he's going for a little bit of plunder, a little bit of weaponry here, and there's the steel chair with Casey Jackson holding it, picking it up, ready to, I'm sure, use it as a weapon, getting in the security guard's face here. And now Casey slides the chair into the ring, and Derek Moss is out on the other side. Derek Moss barely up, and there's the shot across the back from Casey Jackson with the chair. KC says, come on, Derek, this is what you wanted. Derek Moss put out this challenge against Casey Jackson in a no-holds-barred match, and as much as President Archie said, no way, Casey Jackson said, I want to do it. I can beat Derek Moss. And now Casey Jackson seems to be proving his point, at least in this point in the matchup, and choking Derek Moss with the top piece of that steel chair. That's one of the hardest parts of a steel chair. And now the steel chair being set up, or Casey Jackson almost letting it unfold there. And Derek Moss fighting back against KC, who still has the chair in hand, now drops it. There's the forearm across the jaw, and Derek Moss, KC, reversal of the Irish whip into the ropes, and there's KC with the shot to the midsection, and another chair shot across the mid of the back. And that can't feel good. It looks like it might have caught Derek on the back of his head As you can see, he was clutching the back of his skull there off that chair shot. This might not be very good for the young Thriller, who has not gotten very much offense in this match whatsoever. Casey Jackson full on destroying the young Thriller here. And now Casey Jackson picking Derek up to his knees. Derek is almost lifeless in the center of the ring, caught with a right hand by Casey Jackson. And yet again, and now Casey continuing to hammer away, blocked by Derek now. Shot to the midsection, there's the forearm. And yet again against the ropes, Casey might be out on his feet. Moss off the ropes, and there's the knee from Casey. Beautiful maneuver. Casey Jackson, well spotted out there. Veteran instincts, taking Moss off. You're taking Moss out off the run of the ropes. And now Derek Moss again, very, very limp, very dead weight. Casey picks him up. Huge spike pile driver in the middle of the ring. Casey Jackson might have this thing in the bag, wiping his hands of the mess. Lateral press, 2, and Moss somehow staying in this match. Only a 2 count from Casey Jackson. And now Casey waiting for Derek to get back up to his feet. Not going to bring Derek up on his own. This is a good chance for Casey to get a breather, but this could also be a good chance for Derek to spot out his next maneuver as well. And Casey, kick to the midsection, going for a stunner. Casey into the corner. There's the haluva kick from Derek Moss. And now Casey sent back into the middle of the ring. And Casey with a stunner! Casey takes Derek Moss out with a stunner. Right in the center of the ring. Moss was looking for the rolling elbow. Cover 2 and 3. No, only a 2 count. Moss got the shoulder up again. Casey can't believe it. This crowd can't believe it. I sure as hell can't believe it. I'm not sure Moss himself can believe it. He is out in the center of the ring. Casey doesn't know what to do. He's going back under the ring apron, looking for something else. And another steel chair Casey's going to pull out from under the ring. Oh, wait a second. I just noticed that Casey has those very same brass knuckles that he used to win the Regional Heavyweight Championship. Casey Jackson going to use the very same brass knuckles that he used back in November 2016. Here tonight, the main event of Spectacle VII, he is going to retain the Regional Heavyweight title again in the same fashion in which he won it back in November. Derek Moss picked up Casey, bringing the fist back, ready to strike, and Derek Moss sends him out of the way, and there! Derek Moss caught him with a rolling elbow, but Casey caught him with the brass knuckles. Both men are out. Looks like Casey got knocked out by the rolling elbow. No, wait a second. Casey barely up. He felt the effects, but Derek Moss is out cold. Casey's going to retain 2 and 3. No! Derek Moss kicking out. He had that last second. Derek Moss got that little bit of offense in, and it really took away Casey's energy to efficiently cover Derek Moss there. Now Casey doesn't know what he has to do. I just know that Casey went back to the wheel well, the same way he won the title, and it didn't work this time. And now Casey Jackson sets up a steel chair in the center of the ring, going to grab the other one he just pulled out from under the apron. And now Casey back into the center of the ring, and there's the shot to the midsection, almost the chest, the sternum of the young Thriller, Derek Moss. Casey Jackson really showing this crowd that he is a dominant champion no matter what, no matter the tactics, no matter the controversy surrounding how he wins his matches. You have to admit, Casey Jackson has a masterful mindset, a masterful mentality, and now gonna powerbomb Moss onto the chairs, it looks like. Moss blocking the attempt, and now, wait a second, Casey's in trouble, caught with a couple of forearms here. And now Moss off the ropes, and Casey with a Death Valley driver onto the steel chairs. Derek Moss again not able to capitalize quite yet on the main attraction. Casey Jackson gonna crawl over to the cover, and now Moss could be done for good here. Hook of the outside leg, There it is. No. Again, only a 2 count. Again, Derek Moss kicking out. Again, K.C. Jackson is unable to pick up a victory here in the main event of the Grand Wrestling Spectacle number 7. I'm not sure Derek Moss knows how to bring himself back on top of this match. Derek Moss has done everything, and KC has had an answer for every single reversal. These men have wrestled 3 times against each other prior to this. Back in January, Blood, Sweat, and Tears 2017, they had a singles match. President Archie claimed that match ended by time limit draw, although there was no announced time limit, but now it looks like Derek's done for. This could be it. And Derek caught with a jacked up off the top rope. KC Jackson with the jacked up off the top rope. KC's out, however. KC can't capitalize with a cover, but Derek hasn't moved one bit off of the impact of the jacked up. Both men are out. KC and Derek have nowhere to go. KC and Derek barely even moving. KC barely rolling over to his front side. Derek hasn't moved at all, except a couple of blinks and a couple of head shakes, but that's about it. KC's gonna have to find his way into the cover. KC's out, KC's hurt. He doesn't know what to do. And KC rolling over, gonna lays himself into the hook of the leg, barely putting any pressure, and Derek somehow pops himself up. It's almost like muscle memory at this point. Derek Moss is still fighting in this match. KC Jackson doesn't know what he has to do. KC Jackson just hit his finishing maneuver off the top rope of this wrestling ring, and KC still was unable to put away Derek Moss. No matter how bleak it's looking for Derek Moss, you've got to give it to him right now. He's a veteran, and he has the greatest mindset of perhaps any roster member in PWA history, because he will not stop fighting back. He is so passionate for this title, so passionate for PWA and the fans. He's not going to let him down by losing this match to KC. He won't let himself do it until KC almost kills him. And KC hooking Derek for the jacked up one more time. And Derek Moss fights out with a super kick. Cover. 1, 2, and no. KC kicking out of that one. Derek Moss finally finds some offense, or actually defense at this point in the match, and unable to put KC away. And Derek Moss trying to crawl to the cover here. Trying to crawl over. It looks like he's going for the steel chair, if I may correct myself. And Derek Moss finally finds a point where KC is out more so than he is. And Derek now has the steel chair, trying to pull himself up with the help of this steel chair. And now Moss propped against the ropes with steel chair in hand. He's trying to figure out what he's got to do with it. And now Derek Moss setting the chair up on KC. KC laying down with a chair set right on top of him here. And now Derek Moss gonna have to climb to the top rope, it looks like here. Derek Moss is calling for the crowd's love and support. You can hear it in the background. Derek Moss climbing to the top rope, and KC chucks the steel chair at Derek's head, and now Derek's out on the second rope here. KC Jackson again able to capitalize off the time Derek took to climb up to the ropes. And now Derek Moss is out leaning against the top rope. KC fighting away, hammering away on Derek Moss, trying to do anything he can to retain his title at this point. And it looks like KC now in trouble, I should say, as Derek headbutting him off the top rope. Derek's climbing. Derek's going up, paying homage to the Macho Man with the top rope. Diving elbow. There it is, and this could be it. Cover. 1, 2, no. KC Jackson still hanging on to this matchup. Casey Jackson just as passionate as Derek Moss at this point in the match, at this point in Casey's title reign. Casey doesn't know what he has to do. Derek doesn't know what he has to do. These two men know each other inside and out. This is their fourth meeting in the center of the ring. This rivalry has been all over PWA at this point. And now Derek Moss calling for it. He said, what time is it? He's ready to go. Derek Moss up to his feet now. Casey Jackson trying to pull himself up. Derek waiting for Casey to turn around to his inevitable fate. Super kick. And now Derek Moss in trouble here. Derek Moss calling for Casey. Kick. Here it is from the young Thriller with the Brain Buster. Cover. Here it is. 1, 2, and 3. Derek Moss winning the Regional Heavyweight Championship in the main event of the Grand Wrestling Spectacle VII. And Derek Moss hugging Chris Barrow, is the referee, one of his best friends outside of pro wrestling. And while Chris Barrow was very unbiased in that matchup, I'm sure Chris Barrow feels proud that Derek was able to overcome Casey Jackson in just over 20 minutes. Derek Moss winning back his prized possession for the second time. I've been the analyst Robert Leach, and we'll see you on another free match.